All right, so if you guys recall in our video where we built Ray's son, my guitar instructor's son, a computer, we tried using a few different variations of AMD parts, and for some reason, none of it would post. So today we're gonna try and get to the bottom of it. We've got a few things going on over here. We've got the tough motherboard, which we originally started with right now, doing a BIOS flashback, which I'm not sure is actually working because it continues to just freeze, and I'm not sure, whatever. We've got the Asus Strix board that wouldn't boot, and we've got the MSI board over there that also wouldn't boot. We had 3 different CPUs that wouldn't boot, 2 different sets of RAM that wouldn't boot, and 2 different graphics cards that still wouldn't boot. So today, we are going to see what the heck we can figure out so that we can maybe provide you guys not only some entertainment, but some education. Available in 120 and 140 millimeter sizing, the new Lightwings fans from Be Quiet feature high performance airflow and static pressure without the noise. The Lightwings also feature front and rear ARGB, giving you the flexibility to match their color theme with your system. To see the full spec sheet on the new Lightwings fans from Be Quiet, follow the link in the description below. All right, so while all that's still going, let's go ahead and see if we can't get this Asus board to fire up. This is an MSI 1050. This is our boot test graphics card. Now remember, Ryzen doesn't have a GPU inside unless it ends with a G. So 3200G, 3400G, 5600G, 5700G, all those that end with G have an iGPU in there. If they don't, you have to use a discrete graphics card to get any sort of video in a post. So we like to use the 1050 because it's powerless. It doesn't use a PCI Express power cable, which makes it that much faster and easier to just plug it in, put in a display port, and off it goes. So let's go ahead now and just get this sucker to turn on and see if it posts. I have a feeling like so it's already acting different because what was happening on that video was it was getting stuck on the DRAM light, which is the orange LED all the way in. Yeah, see, look, it just posted. This is the exact same configuration that is now posting, where before it would just stick on DRAM. And to verify that it wasn't the DRAM that was the problem, we tried different RAM. So I'm gonna, yeah, this says Intel XMP. Yeah, this is the same exact stick of RAM. Yes, I know this isn't an Intel board, or an Intel system, but it still works. I'm just gonna try moving it to a different slot right now. I'm not sure why it's stuck on DRAM. We tried reseating it. See, the orange light is on right there. Now it moved to red. Then it's gonna go to the white, then it will go to green. And then we'll go back. No, it'll actually stay green. Yeah, we posted. This is the kind of stuff that is extremely frustrating because we still don't know exactly why it wouldn't post, because I want to give you guys some information as to why it wouldn't post. There is one other thing I did off camera that I didn't show you guys, and that was in that video I was trying to clear CMOS, and that's this jumper right here. So you just, jumper it with metal. What I didn't do was remove the battery, and I did that this time, where removing the battery is usually a necessity for anything that has a clear CMOS header, because usually when you push the button, like if it has a clear CMOS button anywhere on there, which this one doesn't, obviously, because it has a jumper, that will also break the connection to the battery for the EEPROM. That way, battery is basically effectively disconnected and the clear CMOS jumper is being pushed, only that's not what's happening right there. So I removed the battery, I held that for 10 seconds, I put the battery back in, then it started working. So I think in this instance, a clear CMOS is all that was necessary, because we did use this particular board in another build for a video, and I think it just got stuck expecting a different CPU, and then suddenly there wasn't one. So right now, this one is absolutely working. That BIOS flashback is still going, and I don't know what the heck is going on there. I don't want to stop it in the middle of it because that can completely break it. But the benefit to BIOS flashback, you see the light's still green on there, so it's supposed to turn off when it's done, right there. It's still going, but whatever, we'll let it go for a while. And is this posting? Yes, it's posting right now. So there it goes. All right, new good, known good setup. We're not done yet though, because remember the MSI board wouldn't boot either. That one might prove to be a little bit more unique than this problem, where this one, quite honestly, looks like it was solved and fixed by a clear CMOS, which is always my first recommendation when trying to boot something. So I'm glad to know the CPU is fine, the motherboard is fine, and the RAM is fine. This one, on the other hand, It's definitely acting more odd. Installed right now on this is a 3600X. That is a appropriate CPU for this generation of motherboard. So this one, check this out. We plug in our graphics card. We get this light right here. Push the power button. Fan goes to full speed. So it just sticks on red immediately when you go to post, when you go to boot. And then the Q code readout, this is supposed to give you some indicator of the boot, so you can see what is currently posting and where, if this were to stop on like, a various number, A2, D7, D6, whatever, then we could look it up in the manual and find out where it's freezing, which will help us dial in and zero in on what is wrong. That doesn't move. So the other indicator something is not right with this board is the fact that the fan is going 100%. So when you turn on your system, the fans spin to 100% and then they ramp back down. That's just part of the coming alive. The fact that this is doing that and not coming back down tells me something is not right with this board. Now, if I hold the clear CMOS for 10 seconds, and it still does the same thing. Now, fortunately, this board does have a BIOS flashback feature as well. So we can try doing a BIOS flashback on this one. But this one was telling me, hey, something else is really wrong with this board, because we tried 3 different CPUs in it with the same result. Okay, so there's that, 10 seconds. Same thing, 100%. LED stays on red. The code, the digital code readout does nothing. This board right now is why we're even continuing to make this video. And the tough, if it ever decides it wants to freaking flash, where I swear ASUS's BIOS flashback features are just getting worse as time goes on, but I digress, whatever. Let's figure out real quick how to do a BIOS flashback on this board, because I've never BIOS flashbacked on an MSI board. And let's see if we can get this one to come back alive. All right, so I got the MSI BIOS flash utility ready to go. I'm gonna just say that this is not working, because it's been 15 minutes and that light's still green, and every time I've ever done ASUS BIOS flashback, it turns off when it's done. I've got nothing but bad things to say about BIOS flashback on ASUS, but whatever, I digress. I'm not sure which one is the BIOS flashback slot, so I gotta get the slot cover now to find it. BIOS flashback plus. I'm assuming it's the one with the red square around it. It makes sense, because MSI loves red and everything. On. And it says, tap the BIOS button and wait 5 seconds, and then we should see a red light start flashing. Or not. That was an older board we saw the guide on, so maybe I have to hold it on this one. Gosh. I mean, this is the instructions off of MSI's own website. So I switched to a different disk that's got an LED on it that indicates if the USB stick is being used. The BIOS part of this is supposed to light up just like the CMOS does. So that's kind of glowing red. So I'm gonna now see if maybe that LED just isn't working. So we got a blue light right there. I should now see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, look. What? Why did it turn on the system? What? It shouldn't have turned on the system. Okay. Right now I'm probably gonna crash it, obviously. We're gonna take the GPU, the CPU and everything out, and the RAM, because I mean the BIOS flashback feature is designed to obviously work while being, completely disassembled. I hate the way those springs sound. It's designed to be used with, out of CPU and everything in there. I have no idea why it turned on the system when it started the flashback, but it looks like it started doing something. Okay. 1. Oh, why is it? It's going immediately now. It's supposed to wait 5 seconds. Just let it go. Just let it go, and we'll come back. So it says it should take about 5 minutes. It's been 15. All the lights are still flashing. I have no idea what that means, and why a BIOS flashback would then turn on the motherboard. It makes no sense. I'm gonna give this thing one last boot attempt. And if it still does the same thing, which I fully believe that it will, then we shall know that this board is toast. And I don't remember it ever being toast. I don't remember us ever having a problem with this board. Boom. Same thing. So whatever is wrong with this board is so broken that even its own BIOS flashback wasn't able to make any sort of sense of it. It's odd, but I mean, it's not the first time I've had a motherboard like in its BIOS break. We have a process of what we do with these boards. So never have to worry about that one again. Meanwhile, this is still, and that landed perfectly flat, by the way. So, you know what? You know what make me feel a lot better right now? Wow. There. So, this guy here, still a green light. So that clearly hasn't done anything. But we still have to check this guy out because this was the original board that was giving us problems. All right, let's see if this board has any change. Okay, DRAM, CPU, are good. VGA, back to DRAM because it does boot loops when it first posts, which is fine. So this board is so far going through. Okay. Fan slowing down, we got a white light. There's a green light that says boot, so that should mean we're booted here. Now this is exactly what was happening the other day. We would get the green light and the white light. The green light basically says, hey, everything posted, we're good. As you can see, nothing showing up right there. So now is where we try our fix that we believe was causing this. Take off the 1050, take a powered 2060, and we have a theory that we're not entirely convinced about yet. Those fans went full blast for a second. Blue light, look at that. I'm glad we got to show you guys something today. We tried the 1050 and the 1050 Ti, both of which do not use supplemental power. We have a weird, sneaky suspicion that, and that means that this worked all along when we ended up switching to the Intel build, which is fine. I mean, they actually got an upgrade. But we have a sneaky suspicion that for some reason, the newer, this is the brand new Elite monitor. We believe that the newer monitors, for some reason, when using DisplayPort, are expecting to see something else, and we don't know what that something else is. All we changed was to a newer graphics card, and as you can see, that worked just fine. So now what I want to test is, now that it's posted, if I put the 1050 back on there, will it post? And if it does, then we don't know what that means either. What we're gonna do right now is, if it doesn't post, we're gonna take an older monitor, a brand new old monitor, no, an old monitor. I think it might have just, hold on, no, it says no signal. If this doesn't post, then we're gonna swap the monitor and then we'll know. There's some sort of a weird compatibility. And the thing is, remember, in that video, I said we tried two different monitors because we switched the Elite out for the Corsair monitor, which is another brand new monitor. But you see how it's not posting now? This is a known good graphics card. It is a good graphics card. We know that for a fact. It's not like, oh, Jay, your graphics card went bad. Absolutely not. We know it works. We tested it in another system. That's not posting now. So now I'm going to grab one of our old monitors and see if that will post. So this is our Nixius monitor. We've had this for a long time. Just a basic 1080p monitor. It's another panel that we would typically use. I believe it's auto switching. I just plugged in the cable, so it turned itself on for a second because it sensed a resistance change in the wire. Let's see if this works. See, that says it posted, and now we're not seeing anything on this monitor. So now we're just gonna try HDMI. This monitor is AutoSense. See if that'll do anything. Yep, see, now it turned on. So, something strange with DisplayPort and this card in these configs, which is the first time we've ever seen this. Because you saw DisplayPort worked with this card. So, there was actually nothing wrong with this setup or the Strix setup. The MSI we showed you guys, there was something wrong with that for sure. So I'm glad I smashed that one to bits so we don't accidentally use it or give it away or sell it or something. If you've got a system that looks like it's not posting and you're sure everything's correct, it might be worth trying to change your cable out to a different type, HDMI or DisplayPort. For some reason, this graphics card in this config is not like letting this system or the monitor turn on. It's not sensing or activating DisplayPort for some reason. It did work with the Intel system. That's what's so weird about it. So it's some weirdness between, I can't see how that would matter with AMD. I really don't. That's the VGA interface. So I just don't know. If you know why this is happening, sound off in the comments below. But there you go, little redeeming video here showing that the hardware was fine, except for one. And like I said, Ray's son ended up getting an upgrade out of this, and you guys ended up getting another video in our 31 days of Techmas. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you tomorrow. And again, sound off down below what you think is going on with this, because I'll be honest, I don't know.